One of the biggest problems that I've experienced during restoration and repair of antique and classic cars generally falls into the muscle car genre. And that's because people take muscle cars and they sort of up horsepower them, do all kinds of alterations to them, generally focused on the engine. And they end up with these fire-breathing monsters that are really hard to handle. I mean, given the best of circumstances, 1960s technology made for cars that didn't do cornering very well. Now add a couple of hundred horsepower to it and some refinements and everything, and then try to do it on the standard suspension. The only thing that can be worse than that is messing around with the suspension and not really knowing what you're doing. Just buying stuff off the shelf and throwing it on in the hopes that it may do better for you. I see an awful lot of this. I see cars that are actually really dangerous because of the way the front ends have been set up, and I've also seen them that are very expensive. This Coronet, for instance, is one of those. I mean, it is scrubbing the rubber right off its tires because its camber and toe and everything are not so properly set up. So it's come in here to rectify those problems and hopefully give the owner a really nice driving car this summer.
I'm Johnny Bell, I'm a mechanic at the Guild. A customer brought in his 1966 Dodge Coronet. He had all upgraded suspension on it, high performance, and the camber was way out of it, chewing up the tires. So I brought the car in and put it up in the air and checked the front end, make sure everything was tight, and I did find a ball joint that was a little loose. It was hard to believe that the ball joint had play in it because it was brand new, but I did find on the Dodge they screw into the control arm, and I got a turn and a half out of it, and that tightened up the ball joint. And what I had to do is, it had so much negative camber on it, I had no adjustment left on the top eccentrics. So what I'd had to do is I had to pull the upper control arms out on both sides, and there's threaded rods in the control arm, and I threaded it out to bring the camber more positive. And then I put it all back together, greased it all up, and rechecked the front end, and I put my level on it. It's a cheater level. It gets you pretty close to the camber, and I've got the camber specs within adjusting range. So anyhow, I got all that done, rechecked the front end, checked the tire pressures, and then put the wheels back on, and I adjusted the camber. I don't know if they ever had an alignment on it, or I don't know the whole story, but the camber was just way too much negative. And there's the upper eccentrics on the control arm, and they were maxed right out. And I was reading like -1, -1.5, causing the wheel to tilt in at the top, causing tire wear and not very driving stability. And so now the car's done, and we're gonna send it out for an alignment and get the alignment all fixed up on it, and the customer's gonna enjoy himself for the rest of the summer driving that nice 66 Dodge Coronet.